Okay, this is the third video, perhaps the fourth, but it is the video about now taking the dinosaur that we animated in part and how to move it over to Unity and see it work there. There are a few steps you need to know about. Once you find it working in Blender, you can be pretty sure that it's going to work over in Unity. So the first step here is to save by exporting. Export the dino to an FBX file, which I've done and called dinoanimatedfixed.xbx because, of course, we fixed the problem with the rotation on the dino before, so it's done, and we have it now exported. It's a relatively small file and should go over rather quickly. So let me move to the OA window in Unity. This is one I was just using for testing. You noticed I put in a plane, and it's got a texture on it, which is grass. And you can do the same thing since you know how to do that now from the previous week's work. We are, the only thing I have on here is a zombie running around and some other little things, but I'll bring the dino over here. So let me go to where I put the dino, which was in Images for Camp, and I had it called dinoanimatefixed.fbx. So to get that in, I take it and just drag it into the assets we have. And this one, well, I'd called it Alien before for a previous experiment, but it'll work just fine. So I've brought it, it's coming over now, Dino Animate Fix, there it is. Came over really quickly. Now it's got a bunch of stuff in it, things we don't need. We really don't need the camera that came with it, so I'm going to just get rid of that if I could. Well, I don't think it'll let me do that right now. But I'm going to bring Dino Animate Fixed over into this nice area. Oh no, or maybe I won't, and that's easy to see why. This window, would you believe, is the game window. And here's the scene window. So I need to find out here. I've got the zombie girl out there, so I'm just going to go off and see if we can't look at that. And see, there's another picture of the zombie girl out there wearing a helmet. But at any rate, you know, something to try out, and we will spend time looking at some of this if we can, if we have time in this camp. If not, we can do it in another camp. All right, here comes the Dino Animate Fixed over. Oh, goodness gracious, it looks awfully big, doesn't it? Can it really be that big? Maybe. Oh, I see what we're doing. We're looking at the back of it here, and its legs are embedded in the ground. So I'm thinking that maybe we should just raise it up a bit. What do you think? In the scene we would do that, and we would find there is no way to raise it up and down, is there? And that's a good point to bring up to you. If I look at the one that we brought over, and it's sitting here in the hierarchy, it's got a camera and it's got a lamp. That camera and lamp are located in different ways, and so when you want to move the entire dino, that camera and lamp contribute to what the average placement of the dinosaur animate fixed is. So I'm just going to delete them, and lo and behold, we ought to see pretty soon. I get rid of that lamp. Okay, delete. And we're there. I think. Yes, well, somewhat there anyway. Let's just see what happens if we try to move the dino animate fixed. There it is. And we seemingly can't. I see what there was. This one called animate fixed 1, and that was that one, I think. I'll try to move it up, and yeah, finally I got the right one. Now it turns out that when we were saving things, you remember we saved that file called material 001 diffuse color PNG. There it is. And we can actually bring it over and put it in this folder. There it is, same one. Now, this is an important step. If we take it and we drag it to this dinosaur, yes, see that? It just colorized it immediately, and you can recognize that rather poor texture that I used before on the dinosaur. So we have now this dinosaur fixed, all fixed up, and looking about as we thought it would be. Now, of course, you're going to ask me, well, just press play and let it animate. Guess what? It's not going to animate. Watch it. No, it didn't animate at all. But you know why? It's because it has an animator component on it. And you have to set up the animator component to get this to run. It requires a controller. Now, I made the dino controller just a few minutes ago by just simply going to the assets here and creating. I said create, and I create this animator controller. Now, the animator controller coordinates the information about the figure and the animation, where the animation is the animated set of information on moving the poses that we made in the last video. So here's the dino controller, and it will go in the dino animator fixed. So I'm just going to drag it over here. Hello? What did I do with it? Okay. There it is, dino controller. And of course it turns blue when it says I'll accept that. Now the key here is to look at the controller, because you've got some things to do. The controller is located in a window called Animator, which you can get if you don't have it by just clicking on Window at the top and bringing in Animator. And it brings in, it doesn't bring in this. I guess I should get rid of it because I tried this out before I made this video. Let me just make it out, take it out. I can now create a state and make it that empty, and it's connected so that whenever this runs, it'll run this new state. I could call that new state something called dino anim or whatever. And I have to put into it a motion. A motion. Now that motion is what we recorded by moving the armature around, and it was here when we brought in dino animated fixed, just sitting down there. And so I can just bring that in. Let me bring it in. I'll go back to Dino Animator Fixed, and I will have the controller here. And in that controller, I should be able to bring that in someplace. Aha, here it is. I could bring it into the Animator Fixed right here. And it is sitting there where I would add it. It turns out I did this once before, and that's why I'm hesitating on it. But at any rate, it's sitting there in the original Animator Fixed, and it's brought in, and it's got a symbol here where it's just an animation. And it's not very long. Watch it here. Now that's doing the loop time. Notice though the loop time is not checked. So I'm going to loop it. And you can see everything's going very nicely. So I have now, in the actual hierarchy, the Dino Animator Fixed, which has to now have those things that I just did applied. And it should have the controller, and the controller has in it this anim. Oh, and it doesn't have the motion in it. So I better take that motion and put it over in it. But I just fixed that motion up so it would loop. So I'm going to hope that it will actually loop now. Because as soon as this starts, it will run this animation. And that's the way it works. So let's see. I'll bring back this to scene. See what happens. Ooh, look at that. It is running just like we wanted it to. Well, let me look around and see. I'm not sure where this avatar is, that we could go look at what we're doing. But let me go down here and move this up so I can look and see. Now the dinosaur is just out on the plane somewhere, but that's okay. I think we certainly proved that we can build something and then we can animate it. You can see that the animations are quite crude. Sorry that they're quite crude. But this serves as a really useful starting point to know that we can build things like this. We can build odd things to put out in the jungle if we want to do that. This could be an actually good-looking dinosaur, or if we really wanted to pursue the business-oriented things of this course, of which we haven't spent a lot of time on, but you could make things that are really pretty nice and sell them on the asset store. And you should know, and will know if you look at the asset store, that building animals that are animated really is a pretty profitable business if you can find something that people would like. So if any of you really get interested in this kind of thing, you could build something and see what you could do. The other thing, of course, is I've been playing some with various things with humans. You can see this is a human zombie that I downloaded from Mixamo. And just as a preview, we'll be going to Mixamo pretty soon in this if we get through the dino here. And you can actually download this zombie yourself. And if you want to take a look at her, she's really pretty awful looking. Let me see, where is my scene? It's right down here. And I'll go over to the zombie girl and see her there. That camera's covering her face up. Why don't we get rid of her camera or mute it for a second? And you can see that's a pretty ghastly looking zombie. But I just thought you might like to see it. Move that down a little bit and get a glimpse of that nasty face there. Um, she's got a helmet on I put on sometime. And interestingly enough, you can put stuff on somebody like that because in this zombie, there's also a skeleton like we had for the dino. And if you look at this, I'm over here looking through the zombie skeletons list of things, and there's a head. And on this head, I drug a helmet over from the asset store from somewhere and just put it on there. But if you notice, if you take off that, you can see it's pretty nasty looking. How about that? Isn't that nasty looking? So I'll move it down a little bit. And that's it for this video. You know how to know these things, and we're going to move on to humanoid so that you can make some avatars and have them move around. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing some of you take this one from Mixamo. You'll see about it on the wiki. Download it and actually get it running around a terrain like this. It's actually a lot easier than what we just did, but I thought that it's good for you to have seen how we can make anything with Blender, including animals. So that's it, and thanks. Bye.